about colors soon. We're actually going to get into the actual color, because you were talking about how, you know, it's different, and we were talking about how it's the same. It's same but different.
Well,
and I would love to get into the indigenous shit, because I was actually, you know, raised in the whole like Latin, Colombian, Portuguese.
Let me ask you a question.
Scottish.
Right. Let me ask you a question, a personal question.
How do you feel? Hebrew.
How do you feel that you would? How do you feel your day would go if you literally walked into the Vintage tomorrow and just started walking around? How would you feel?
All right. How? So
for those that don't know, the Vintage is like a very prestigious A-list golf resort that people with millionaires and sometimes even billionaires have their like second, third, fourth, fifth home in, and it's very well maintained, and there's like high security, and there's all that stuff. It's like there's Bighorn, and there's the Vintage, and there's maybe a couple others that I'm not thinking about, but
so
I got a story about that, by the way, that I'd like to share.
Yeah. So I'd like to hear the story, but to answer the question briefly, originally when I think of the Vintage, I think of an indigenous culture that existed on all continents before empires genocidally wiped our ancestors and our culture nearly off the face of the planet. But, you know, that reminds me of that whole, you know, war on our planet. The Vintage, to me, I think of
Avatar, essentially.
Right? You know, going back into that, I feel like, and I think it's the same as like the Vintage you're talking about, is like, I would feel accomplished. I would feel like, oh shit, this is awesome. There's a food forest, you know, or in the Vintage you're talking about, there's a open bar, you know, like there's people bringing snacks around and shit, and I just, you know, you can eat and drink as much as you want, and you're like, you're rich, we'll give you things, you know, you don't even have to pay for them, you know. I would feel like, you know, so that's two different questions. How I would feel, and then what would happen.
Yeah.
And then what would happen is, I think, different, because that's about how everyone else would feel. Mm-hmm. And they would feel like, also whether it's we're going back in time and we're going into that food forest, or whether we're going into this Vintage that you're talking about, either way, these people are going to be like, who this guy? Exactly. Who the fuck is this guy? Mm-hmm. Is he allowed to be here? Mm-hmm. You know, it like looks like an alien.
Yeah, right.
You know, it looks like something that came from another world.
And why is that?
Because I did come from another world.
Well, we were talking about color, right?
Yeah.
Because
culture.
Well, specifically, we were talking about the color.
Yeah. Well, because
I don't classism that is associated with the connotation of the color.
But check this out. I just met a dude that just won city council in 29 Palms. Awesome guy. Wears a suit. Typical Wall Street white culture. He walks into the Vintage, they're gonna act like he you know, this is the new inductee. He was supposed to be here, you know. But his skin's darker than either of us.
Right.
And it's about what you wear, it's about how you talk,
carry
it's
yourself.
about exactly. It's all that shit, bro.
Which taps back into like, hello, officer.
Exactly.
That's the white voice.
That's black white culture.
That's what people think. They associate it with, oh, you put on the white voice. Why is it the white voice?
I guess so. I guess you're right.
Why is that?
It's that white collar voice, I guess. I think honestly, so this is coming from my immature self, and I haven't reflected on this and adapted it to a new perspective yet, but perhaps we will right now.
My natural voice is like a bro from Yucca Valley.
Because you are a bro from fucking Yucca
That's
Valley.
Just my natural speaking voice,
bro. So my natural voice is going to say that black and white culture is the oppressor and black culture is the oppressed. Mm-hmm. That's what it has been. That's what it was developed for. But I don't think that that's what it is all the time. I think that there are like
that's the
Obamas.
Lineage. That's the lineage of the culture.
That's the lineage of the culture. So it's an oppressor and an oppressed. And so I'm trying to answer the question of why is that the white voice?
Right.
Because I felt that too. Like my mom would answer the phone, do her little business calls and shit, and I'm like, that's not your voice. What kind of voice is that? You know?
Yeah.
And like you're saying, that's the white voice, I guess. I don't know. I never really identified it like that, but I can see where that comes from because as a youth, you know, as a angsty teenager, I was like, yeah, white culture is the oppressor, black culture is the oppressed, you know?
Right.
And I don't really feel 100% aligned with that anymore.
Yeah, because it's changing, it's growing, there's evolution
all
is
things
happening.
change, yeah.
I feel like it's almost like as if it's a tracksuit for your voice, or a business suit for your voice, or like your voice can even have dimensions to it,
Absolutely.
or your consciousness can have dimensions to it. Like how, to me, it boils down to, still with the personal growth and self development, it boils down to authenticity. How authentic are you in every setting? Because here's the thing. One of the things that assists in surpassing the quote-unquote white voice or whatever it is going to be money. Money will allow you, like, if you ask Snoop Dogg to go in any setting in the world, right? He goes to Switzerland or whatever, or wherever, Sweden, I don't know where it was, but he was late or whatever it was. And the guy's like, Snoop Dogg, the first question I want to ask you is, why are you late? Man, shut the fuck up, I'm here. You know, that was the first thing that came out of Snoop's mouth, was like, I'm here, now what? You got me here, bro. Like I'm Snoop Dogg in any setting, right? That's how he operates, right? And so I feel like the more success that you have as an individual, or the more quote unquote clout you achieve, so to speak, and validation of who you are as a person, I think it's directly correlated with how authentic you have been and how authentic you are as an individual. And that and being your authentic self is actually a gift.
Yeah.
I think, because if you feel that you need to traverse personalities in order to navigate an oppressed environment epistemologically, you don't necessarily want to have that occur. You want to have the authentic voice that comes from within you, be able to speak at all times.
Bro, there's so many topics that it touches on. Like, the topic that it gets furthest to, that I'm gonna completely avoid, is it almost touches on, like, transgender, like, multiple personalities, two-soul type things. But let's roll it back from that, because let's not go there yet. What I want to say, though, for reals, is I'll
get off the internet.
All right,
I'll get
off the internet. Hey, you're not allowed.
Bro, you don't smoke, you don't drink, you don't do any of that stuff. No, I'm cool, man. But you do talk about that shit. Get the hell out of here.
How dare you drink water and talk about transgender people? Okay, so on the real though, like for me, I feel like with the Snoop Dogg stuff and all that, with sincerity and integrity. Also, speaking of the transgender stuff, Tulsi Gabbard had a great thing about integrity recently, talking about integrity. I always, old Ron Paul guy, integrity was a main thing. Steven, son, whatever, you could say. I like tagging that shit at the end of a fucking letter, at the end of an email. Sincerely, Steven. Sincerely, son. You know what I mean? So it's like sincerity, integrity, authenticity, like as you say, and I love breaking down the etymology of these words. And authenticity is like authority. It's the signature. It's your individuality, but it's also your power, your sovereignty. You know, because it's your signature. It's who you are.
Well, you can go further. You can go further because it kind of like. I'll play devil's advocate. Like, who decided that writing your signature is what you should do to be authentic?
Well, that's how you sign that you are the author of this.
According to what framework,
according
what ideology?
Yeah, of course.
You know,
I think the art form itself.
Because if you tell like a indigenous tribe, like, sign this paperwork, they'll look at it, slap the paperwork, slap you, and be like, let's go get some. Sure, let's go hunt some grubs. Like, what is this paperwork? You know, like, I put my hand right there. Boom.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what you want? Come here. You're a little dusty.
But
you're not gonna survive in the sun. Here, let me put some of this muck on.
But that's still fucking signature. You got their fingerprint. So the
galactic signature.
There it is. It's
back to that.
It's universal, man, and it's who you are as an individual. It's the star print again. Back to the universal.
For now,
I mean,
dude, my mind. Listen
for
to me.
now, absolutely for now.
Before we keep
absolutely for now.
Just listen to me. Before we keep going, there's not going to be anything that we can discuss without the looming AI is here. The AI revolution is right here. Anything that you've been good at as a person, AI can do. So what the hell are we going to be able to do that transcends AI? That transcends what that technology is going to be allowed to do.
Again, for now, all things are transient in my perspective.
The human condition is a transient.
Yeah, everything is situational. All things can be falsified. So to me, there can be a Homo sapien that transcends AI. There can be an AI that transcends Homo sapien. There can be a woman that's stronger than a man. There could be a man that's more feminine than a woman. There are exceptions to any generalization.
I disagree. No,
there's an exception.
Yeah,
it might not be the statistic. It may not be the average.
It'll be the anomaly.
It'll be the anomaly.
Right.
But
the outlier.
The outlier.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So I'm saying that I'm not afraid of AI in the sense that, okay, here it is. This is my hot take on AI. We're all AI.
Yeah, I've been saying that.
Artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
Artificial is synthetic. Artificial is art. Artificial is man-made. And who taught you your words?
Right.
Who built this microphone? Who gave us this information, this DNA, all of it? What the fuck are we doing right here?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Have you cut an umbilical cord?
Huh.
When I cut the umbilical cord, and I looked at it, and it was like this interweaving, like almost like sonically, like silicon looking.
So,
and I was like,
Roland's crazy because he cloned himself three times. 3 times.
So like
fucking weird.
Yeah, and so I'm cutting the umbilical cord. I'm like, and I look at it. I was like, this looks artificial. It looks like I was like cutting it.
When I cut it, man-made.
Yeah, when I cut it, it looked like the 2 sides were there, and I was like, dude, that is.
Well, it's not just.
Where am I? I immediately was like, where the fuck am I right now? Because I cut it, and I saw like a little blood come out of that end, because we make sure, and I'm looking at it, I was just like, dude, this is like a double helix formation. There was like, it was like. This is the natural progression of an artificial species when given sovereign capabilities and also like the purpose of reproduction. Like this is like, okay, we're gonna build automatons that are able to reproduce, and that is the product of it. And I was like, no, what the fuck?
It's
what is beyond that?
It's funny because I say it's man-made, but it wasn't just man-made. Shout out to Abby Ways because it was man and woman made.
Yeah, my wife, she kills it.
But that shit is artificial. That shit is like, you guys made some creature, and that's amazing. We're all creatures that were made by other fucking Homo sapiens, and a lot of creatures do that. Almost every creature on the planet does that, and
Except that jellyfish that's like immortal.
Right, there's some weird ass creatures that don't do that, but most creatures do. And I feel like it is a programming. It goes back to that genetic memory that that's programmed into our DNA, it's programmed into our mitochondria and whatnot.
You think it's aliens?
I think it's extraterrestrial. I think
terrestrial, extratemporal, or extra-dimensional.
Both. I think
extra-dimensional.
Terrestrial means terrain,
right?
And dimensions are different terrains. Time frames are different terrains. Right. So planets are different terrains. So-called outer space. Terrain. Yeah, it could be the same terrain.
Extratemporal time. Yeah.
I think when I say extraterrestrial, it's all encompassing. Yeah, exactly.
Dimensional, terrestrial.
Exactly. It's
temporal.
It's like these things exist outside of the planet Earth, and
dude, we barely even got past the first fucking
bro. I just gotta say, the shit's not alien though.
No,
it is us.
It
is the programming.
The coding.
It's the programming. Who knows if that programming's in a black hole? It's in a star. It's in every planet. I don't know.
So here's a theory. Do you feel that fungus, like mushrooms, for example, could be like the ultimate expression of what a species ends up becoming once it evolves past the need for anthropomorphic bipedal interaction with each other?
All right.
Like mushrooms could be aliens because if you think of the spores that travel right? You remember that I tapped into transpermia earlier, where for those of you that may not be familiar, transpermia is a theory where other asteroids or comets can carry genetic information from other planets or other systems onto our planet, and then because we are in the Goldilocks zone around our star, and liquid water is supporting life around here, then that genetic material is able to express itself in whatever form that it's used to. Because I mean, that's the only way I can explain the difference between a fucking kangaroo and a spider. Like, what the hell? On the same planet is a whale, a human, and an octopus.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Those things are nothing alike, dude. Like, there's nothing.
Maybe.
Well, I mean,
from our subjective perspective, they look completely different.
Right. Again, it's subjective, but objectively, they're nothing alike. Like,
they're made of the same materials.
They're made of the
carbon and hydrogen and oxygen.
Well, we know
mostly.
We know that the octopus has a genetic coding that is different from all the other species.
Okay, so this is my hot take. So you're talking about mushrooms, and my understanding of archaeological history and widely accepted scientific theory is that most of the water on this planet came from outer space, from an asteroid, and that asteroid it mended with our molten planet, and part of it broke off, and that's our moon. And there's some moons out there in our solar system that are frozen balls of ice, that underneath the ice we've detected currents, where it could be just like Antarctica, where they have ancient so-called alien life forms living underneath that ice, because after you go down a certain depth,
the core could be heating up the ice.
Exactly. And so you have some water underneath there. And so that's on different satellites to other planets, different moons to other planets. And
Europa, that kind of thing.
Exactly. And so we have that here in Antarctica, and also archaeologically we can look at mushrooms coming from other planets, mushrooms coming from outer space, and interacting with the early, not just Homo sapiens, before mammals even existed, before anything existed outside of the water. Mushrooms were one of the first life forms on this planet. So mushrooms have been here interacting with us since the beginning.
Right. That's my point. Yeah, that's my precise point.
And so I'm not necessarily in the camp that they're more advanced or less advanced or anything like that, as far as in relation to hominids. But you brought up the octopus as well, and the octopi, or the mollusks, they were the first intelligent life forms on the planet. Before anything came out of the water, they were the dominant species under the water. And then there was a mass extinction, and amphibians
slowly starts to reemerge,
come out of the water. Yeah,
genetic material reemerges.
Yeah, and so mushrooms were there from the beginning, but mollusks would be the second.
So you've heard of like stair-step evolution theory,
I've seen that.
Where there's these epochs of increased rapid expansion in the intellectual capabilities or the tool making capabilities of hominids. But my thing is, if the spores can last intergalactically, right? What is to say that this is not the ultimate expression of what it's like to be alive on another planet, carry information from multiple planets, feed that information into the Cro-Magnon or whatever clunky hominid that's at the time.
I don't doubt it.
That lights the brain up.
I don't doubt it.
Shouts out Vanilla Ice.
I don't doubt it. It reminds me of those crazy fungi that take over ants. That zombie ants.
Oh yeah, exactly.
It's crazy.
Yeah. And that's what we are.
Scary.
We're just walking around freaking like mushroom zombies.
But we don't know, because I feel like it correlates with my perspective on reality, where I feel like I'm like like the meat bag perspective, where I'm borrowing carbon annually. I'm borrowing water day by day. I'm borrowing this air moment to moment. And what am I really?
And eventually you'll release it.
Exactly. I'll release it and I'll have to borrow more. I'm not my body.
What happens when you stop borrowing it?
Who knows? But I'm an energy form.
Right.
I'm a sequence of codes. I'm not carbon itself. I'm not clay. I'm not water. I'm not air. I use these things.
Well, yeah,
those are my
of course.
That's my avatar.
Of course. Well, you are your you're.
I'm using an avatar,
right?
You know, and it's just shedding itself every 7 years. Every cell in your body is different, structure. And so that means.
Although there's recent studies that are refuting that, but
well, whether it's 7 years or not, all of your cells, and I think some of these studies suggest that certain cells in your heart and your brain, are actually held a lot longer.
Well, and also the cellular deterioration that degradation that we experience as humans is not really like due to just external circumstances like oxidation, et cetera, et cetera. It's actually because there's a lack of information retention capability.
Yeah.
So therefore, you age because your cells just don't happen to know or don't remember how to keep what you had before.
We're gonna get some ancient alien shit up in this
so,
bitch, and
like,
some immortalism stuff.
I had a song a long time ago.
The attack on our whole planet.
It was like Know Too Much or something like that, where I talk about building up the telomeres in your body to stop you from aging. Right, metal atoms become diatoms. You have to have monoatomic elements inside of your body. Right, like gold, silver, colloidal gold, colloidal silver.
Yeah.
Those types of things. That's real. That's like reversing aging.
Yes.
Like reversing the actual. Yes. But what you're trying to do is you're attempting to give your body the ability to retain its memory from the start. And how do we do that? Well, there's multiple different ways. I know that there's a scientist right now that just reversed his physical age like by 5 years or something like that. And I want to know his exact name. I have him saved in my favorites. I'll tell you his name because it's super important. Yeah.
So,
and what's dope is he has like his whole entire, I think he calls it the blueprint.
Oh shit.
He has his whole
Jay-Z.
Yeah, he has his whole like
Rockefeller
spiel like, dude, look how many bookmarks I freaking have. It's ridiculous.
Bro, it's like me. Hey, but I feel like it reminds me of that umbilical cord thing that you're talking about where this encoding,
Bryan Johnson.
There it is.
Be the next evolution of human.
Yeah.
Okay, so check this out real quick, because this I think is going to be useful for whoever's listening and tapping in, either now or in the future.
Yeah.
So this guy, his results from 2 years of the blueprint, so 5.1 years of epigenetic age reversal, it's a world record. He slowed his pace of aging by 24%, perfect muscle and fat MRI, 50 plus perfect biomarkers, 100 plus markers of like less than chronicle age, fitness tests that are equivalent to an 18-year-old, and his body runs
he's flexing.
Yeah, his body runs 3 degrees Fahrenheit cooler, and so he literally, his philosophy is zeroism. So like, essentially the way he works is his enemy is entropy, and his path is goal alignment via building your autonomous self, enabling compound rates of progression to bravely explore the zeroth principle, future, and play infinite games. Now, when you scroll down this guy's, and if you go to blueprint.bryanjohnson.co, and Bryan is with a Y, he literally released every aspect of what he's doing down to the most optimal body fat intake, cholesterol, testosterone index. He's got his entire data after 18 months of adhering to his specific type of diet. And he's getting blood tests. He's testing every single organ. He has multiple physicists that are the top of their field studying him. Bro, this guy is on another fucking level. And here's the crazy part about
that's tech strat shit.
He's releasing everything for free. Like you can literally assimilate this and just do some.
Bro, he's a tech strat monk.
Dude, you can do some arbitrage and literally just create an app and just only use this data and make a fortune because it's like the best way.
Bro, that food just looked dank just now.
I geek out on it because I've been vegan for like, I don't know, 10, damn near a decade now.
Yeah.
And I know that a lot of what he's saying is absolutely correct. And I haven't even taken it as far as this guy has.
Bro, those cauliflower and broccoli I'm just like, bro.
Nutty pudding.
I wish I could just pull it straight out the screen.
Straight up.
I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I had some pizza at the hood, but that's not this.
Yeah, that's not this.
I'm craving this right now.
Yeah, this is fire, dude.
Yeah.
He gives a price breakdown of what it all costs per average.
So what it was making me think of is how Homo erectus had clothes, had tools, had drawings on cave walls. We have no idea what else they had because it's all biodegradable and they were over 300,000 years ago. Our species has been here for 300,000 years, and if we were doing everything biodegradable, sustainable, leave no trace, there's not a lot of evidence towards our technological advancement. But if the species before us that we evolved from already had tools, were already Stone Age in every sense of the word, and we went, according to written history, according to the history of these empires that, they won the war so they get to write the history.
Right. The victor gets to decide how things ended up being.
So according to the Devil's Advocate, they're saying we went from Stone Age to Space Age in less than 10,000 years. We could have done that 30 times as this species. And then imagine the species before us.
Right.
How many times they could have done that
that
from
goes
Stone
into
Age to
the
Space Age.
ancient Ayurvedic study of what's called root races.
Yeah, and I'm saying this guy right here, this is the type of stuff that's been probably practiced in our species and the species before us for hundreds of thousands of years. This is why we evolved into the creatures that we are right now.
Maybe.
I think so. I think that the diet, the habit, the reason why, the data retention you're talking about with the cellular degradation, it's a manner of our species developed in a certain time on this planet where Homo erectus, I don't know, I have a wild theory. I feel like Homo erectus is like high elves. And they were like, let's make these weird ass kinda like us.
Creatures. Yeah, I know what you mean.
So we have to maintain ourselves.
Right.
We're built to live in food forests.
Yeah, so the way I see it
to live in technological paradise.
Is you have true. And a synthesis, a harmony with
absolutely
with technology, nature
that's how
and
we
technology.
Evolved. That's how we developed as a species.
So the way I'm seeing it is we have a spirit, right, that is able to traverse galaxies, traverse dimensions, traverse whatever it is, but on a particular planet. You want to be able to incarnate, right? So what do you do, right? You embody a being on that planet, right?
An avatar.
Yeah. Right. So you have the being on that planet. Well, you need to be able to breathe on that planet. So you need to be able to, if you have super advanced technology, you need to be able to fuse. Well, what is, why does our ear look literally we got mouth and teeth and we look very primate-y, right? We're it's that one. That's the one that we're going to pick. We're going to pick that primate. We're going to fuse our genetics with that. Yeah. And then now you're going to have, that's what humans are, essentially.
So do you think, and I really want to move on to the next bullet point in your thing, because we went over the black and white culture, and I have other bullet points as well. But to kind of, like you were saying, putting a button on it, and you mentioned the mushrooms and whatnot, and what you're talking about right now reminds me, I'm going to throw a theory that I have out there, and see how it sticks or bounces off of you as a soundboard. Like we were talking about, there is the mushrooms, there's the fungi that came to this planet first, and then there's these advanced mollusks, the giant squid, the octopi that can build their own tools, that can do all kinds of advanced forms of mental gymnastics, and honestly, I feel like those grays that people talk about, these aliens, the big head with the big eyes, the gray, even the flying saucers that come out of the ocean and collect electricity from our storm clouds, all of that reminds me of these ancient mollusks that perhaps were the first hominids. And then, like what you're saying about these incarnating into an avatar and picking which one's the best one. Before anything lived on the land, the best one was probably the mollusks. The mollusks.
Right.
Out of all the ocean creatures, we had the most diverse population of different species on the planet before the first mass extinction.
Right.
And there was nothing living on the above the water yet. And then we had a mass extinction, and perhaps these advanced mollusks had a part in it. Maybe they didn't. Who knows? But when we talk about, the mushrooms and the picking the avatar,
right?
I see those mollusks as the first avatar that they chose
Of a sentient.
Yes, to make them sentient almost. I guess they were sentient already.
That
but
has the ability to navigate its environment
exactly
in a way that is conducive for growth.
Think about it. An octopus is like a mammal in the sense that
play. If you really think about it, to be able to play.
Yeah, you got the
right now. If I could literally just grab everything in the room, I would love to be able to do it.
And I think
move it around and be like, all right, dude, I'm gonna click this, type that over there, grab that, drink that water, walk over this, click that off, and be like, yo, dude, what's up?
Absolutely,
and bounce up, super fucking fire.
I think that's why primates were chosen in this round, because we are that.
Right.
Today, where we have the opposable thumbs,
right.
We have the ability to jump, we have the ability to build a plane, we have all these different aspects. Yeah, so we're like the octopi of this round, where there was, a reptilian round, and we're now on the mammalian round.
Right. And it's like, this is the most efficient navigation machine for the foreseeable epoch that we exist within.
Absolutely. On the planet, at this time, at this space, at this time, this is the right vessel.
Right.
And so
I fuck with that.
Millions of years ago, the right vessel might have been a reptile.
Right.
On this planet.
Dinosaurs.
Millions of years ago, the right vessel would have been a mollusk. Before that, on this planet. And it might be a different vessel on a different planet right now.
Right.
So time and space, it's like we're right now the epitome vessel to manifest as on this planet right now.
Yeah, and because if you really think about it, we do have dominion. Like there's not a single creature that threatens us, and that we
don't threaten
them more than they threaten us, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's because of our tool making ability.
Which is also kind of sad to me, because I feel like most of our species currently, out of the 8 billion of us, most of us are being used as a tool to destroy our planet right now. And not just our planet.
Well,
as avatars, like when I relate to my avatar, when I say we're part of the planet,
you grab this and you drink this, you crush it up and you throw it here. And
it's destroying our environment.
Yeah, that was your day.
The other animals, the other plants.
Right.
It's
not harmonious.
It's
not operating within
harmony. And I feel like there's a certain amount of manipulation that's going into that. It's not natural. It wasn't going on for 300,000 years. It's been going on for less than 10,000 years. So I don't know what's influencing us to do these self-destructive things, but let's put a button on that.
I'm down.
And move on to that next.
What's the next shit?